Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Rev.Frances Lorenz, and it's my delight to welcome you on this gorgeous day. It's so pretty outside. You've just heard For the Beauty of the Earth by John Reuter, played by Bienvenido, Yangco. What a beautiful piece. Oh, thank you. So I want to introduce our other musicians today. Terry O'Hara on piano. We have Steve and Kristi Nebel joining us today as our guest musicians, singing a lot of Steve's environmental songs, so we're going to have a good time today. And on platform with me is Steve, who's a practitioner in training. He's studying through the Baltimore church. He came up with all of his credentials ready, and we didn't have a class starting, so the minister from Baltimore invited people from all over the country to join his class. And so he's studying with one of the greats, Reverend Holden. So we're excited that he's going into Prac 2 next year, and he'll be a full-blown practitioner in the future. So. Yeah, woohoo, that's right. So Steve Potts, I didn't tell you his last name. Last week I talked about, forest therapy, going into the forest, and this morning Stephen's darling Gail, who turns out is to be a professor on climate change and environment, gave me an entire research paper on forest therapy. So if you're interested in learning more about learning the real science behind the forest therapy I talked about last week, I'll be happy to make a copy of this. It's really wonderfully presented. So anyway, thank you, Gail, for that. Okay, so we're going to start with a meditation and opening prayer from Stephen Potts, and that'll be followed by California, sung by Steve and Kristi Nebel.
Good morning. About 30 years ago, I ran across a piece by Paul Tillich, who was one of the premier theologians in the mainstream church. I believe he was Lutheran. He was from Germany. He ran like this. I read this piece, and I used it in my counseling for substance abuse. And this piece right here has been probably told, has come back to me several times from different people that it meant so much to them in their recovery. And I thought I would use that as a prelude to our meditation this morning. This is by Paul Tillich from Shaking of the Foundations. We cannot transform our lives unless we allow them to be transformed by that stroke of grace. It happens or it doesn't happen. And certainly it does not happen if we try to force it on ourselves. Just as it shall not happen as long as we think in our self-complacency that we have no need for it. Grace strikes us when we are in great pain and restlessness. It strikes us when we walk through the dark valley of a meaningless and empty life. It strikes us when we feel our separation is deeper than usual because we have violated another life, a life which we loved or from which we were estranged. It strikes us when our disgust with our own being, indifference or our weakness or hostility or a lack of direction and composure have become intolerable to us. It strikes us when year after year the longed-for perfection of life does not appear. When the old compulsions reign within us as they have for decades, when despair destroys all joy and courage. Sometimes at that moment, a wave of light breaks into our darkness, and it is as if though a voice were saying, "You are accepted. You are accepted by that which is greater than you, and the name of which you do not know. Don't ask for the name now, perhaps you'll find it later. Do not try to do anything now, perhaps later you will do much. Don't seek for anything, do not perform anything, don't intend anything, simply accept the fact that you are accepted. If that happens to us, we experience grace. After such experience, we may not be better than before, and we may not believe more than before, but everything is transformed. In that moment, grace conquers sin, reconciliation bridges the gulf of estrangement, and nothing is demanded of this experience, no religious or moral or intellectual presupposition, nothing but acceptance. I'm going to ask you to join me in closing your eyes and sitting in the silence and thinking about acceptance and love and grace. You are accepted. I am accepted. You are appreciated. I am appreciated. You are admired. I am admired. You are loved. I am loved. And I absolutely know that all there is God. There is one infinite power, one presence, one life, one infinite mind, whole, perfect, and complete. And I know that this infinite intelligence is manifesting itself right here and right now, in, around, through, and as me. I am one with God. And there is no me apart from God. In it I live, move, and have my being. And I know what is true for me, that which is true for me, is true for everyone in this room, everyone in this sanctuary, everyone in the universe. There is nothing but God. And I know that right here and right now, this service is going to be a blessing, is a blessing to each and every one of us, to the musicians, to Rev.Frances, to the AV people, to the people in the sanctuary. And I know that the message that Rev.Frances brings to us today will affect each one of us, and we will grow and become more of what we're supposed to become. And to give thanks for this truth, realizing that right here and right now, we are one with God. And I'm so grateful for this being, and I release this word into the law of mind and allow it to be the truth of my being. And so it is.
Kristi and I were on a trip to California, driving along the shores of Shasta Lake, and we were listening to the radio, and the host on the radio show was interviewing a California commercial fisherman, and he was talking about how one of the legislators in the California legislature had been suggesting that, oh, well, let's just take all the water out of the Sacramento River. Don't let any of it get to the ocean. And, of course, the fisherman was not sure that was such a hot idea. But so I got the idea for this song. And I've been introducing this as a science fiction song, but it's becoming more science and less fiction all the time. 2, 3, 4. on the Sacramento River. Shasta Lake is almost gone. California, you have dried up. Think it's time that I moved on. You have always had your deserts. Now they run from north to south, and you're not fit for habitation. Think it's time that I moved out. California, California, with your palm trees and your sun, with your almonds and your orchards. California, I must run. I heard on the radio that it isn't all gone yet. They suggested we just drink her up till there's no water we can get. I think I've tasted quite enough of desert dust in this man's mouth. I think I'll move up north to Washington now that her fires have all gone out. California, California, with your palm trees and your sun, with your moguls and your movies. California, I must run. You can't help the things they've done. You can't help the things they say. You've been robbed right from their arrival. Think it's time I moved away. In the California desert, dreams are waiting out there yet, like a mirage in her great desert. There are things you'll never get. California, California, with your palm trees and your sun, with your ocean and your beaches. California, I must run. I'll buy me a little cabin on the shores of Puget Sound. I will dream of California, dance when the rain is falling down. When the folks who drank are dry, I'll leave. To California I'll return. For now I simply can't abide them. Tell me, will they ever learn? California, California, with your palm trees and your sun, with your mountains and your deserts. California, I must run. California, 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 I must run. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a reading by, actually, it's a poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's called Water. The water understands civilization well. It wets my foot, but prettily. It chills my life, but wittily. It is not disconcerted. It is not heartbroken. That's broken-hearted. Well used, it decketh joy, adorneth, doubleth joy. Ill used, it will destroy. In perfect time and measure, with a face of golden pleasure. elegantly destroy.
How about that? Okay, this is a new song, so you're the first people who get to hear it. Terry is going to play along with this. I think he said he would. I know it's kind of a challenge for him because he's only heard the song partially once. So good luck on that, Terry. But I have confidence in you. Remember, you told me what key it's in. Remember that? Yeah, it's in A. It's apparently in A minor, right? So, you ready? 3, 4. If it doesn't rain soon, sun will kill my crop of corn. If it doesn't rain soon, time's fabric will be torn. If it doesn't rain soon, if it doesn't rain soon, if it doesn't rain soon. I sent my wife and children to my sister. Didn't think the drought would last this long. If you see her, won't you tell her that I miss her? I've heard that even China's closing down. If it doesn't rain soon, livestock are dying in the fields. If it doesn't rain soon, I'll lose ability to feel. If it doesn't rain soon, if it doesn't rain soon, if it doesn't rain soon, I don't know where I'm going to be by winter. These days you just can't tell who'll be around. I only hope I make it through this summer. I've heard that even China's closing down. If it doesn't rain soon, they say they'll cut off all our power. If it doesn't rain soon, when the temperatures are high. If it doesn't rain soon, if it doesn't rain soon, if it doesn't rain soon. I used to think I could live without the power. Air conditioned just a little of the year. Now the days are getting hotter by the hour. I've heard that even China's closing down. If it doesn't rain soon, we'll have an empty water tower. If it doesn't rain soon, hell is going to have to pay. If it doesn't rain soon, if it doesn't rain soon, if it doesn't rain soon, lay me down inside the dust and the dead flowers. When the price of life is gone too high to pay, you may have guessed that time is coming soon. I've heard that even China's shutting down. Yes, I've heard that even China's closing down. They say that even China's shutting down. If it doesn't rain soon, 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 if it doesn't rain soon. Thank you.
I love that song. Yeah, I was reading an article on the Maya, on a part of the Mayan civilization that was on the west coast of Mexico. The archaeologists believe that it was drought that caused them to move, and they didn't think they would have to move away for very long because they left their tapetes, their little corn grinders, just turned upside down. They didn't take them with them. And so they expected to come back, and they never did. So, yeah, thank you. So messages from water. This is a month on nature for our movement. Everyone's talking about nature, and today's message was supposed to be about water. And so nature we wouldn't even be gathered here today if it weren't for nature, because Emerson was the inspiration to Ernest Holmes for his entire philosophy. And he read the essay Nature in 1906 when he was only 20 years old. And he was visiting the family, and on the coffee table was a copy of Emerson's essays. And he picked up the book and he read it from cover to cover. And he said after he read it that reading Emerson was like drinking water to him. So this was the first essay he wrote after he left the Unitarian ministry. He had grown up and seemed to have a proclivity for studies, so his mother arranged for the Unitarians to send him to Harvard on scholarship. So he was in Harvard in 1825. He got out, joined a Unitarian church, and left in 1832 to write essays. And he left because the church board was trying to make him do communion services, and he didn't like the notion of communion. He didn't like the idea of drinking blood and eating the body. It just was offensive to him, so he left the ministry over that. He was always a very independent thinker. So when he was reading Emerson, he got this great idea. And it was that there ought to be a way to synthesize science, philosophy, and religion. And it became his textbook, The Science of Mind. So some people define nature as the love of beauty. The Greek word cosmos means beauty, just like for the beauty of the earth that Benny played earlier. So Emerson said the eye is the best of artists, and that beauty is an object of the intellect which sees order. Or he also said, nothing divine dies. All good is eternally reproductive. So the creation of beauty is art. But he came up with kind of an interesting concept, Emerson, in his essay on nature. And it was the idea of a transparent eyeball. A transparent eyeball. And he said that the transparent eyeball represents an eye that's absorbent rather than reflective and takes in all that nature has to offer. And Emerson intends that an individual become one with nature, and the transparent eyeball is the tool to do that. So he published his essay on nature in 1836, and he wrote, "Nature is the closest experience there is to experiencing the presence of God." So to appreciate nature, you have to look at it and admire it and feel it take over the senses. And that process, he said, requires solitude. And he recommended that we all retire from inhabited society and go to uninhabited places like the woods. And there he came up with an affirmation I am nothing. I see the all. So the all that Emerson seeks access to is not harmony or knowledge, but the perception of a deep unity between the human spirit and the natural world. Emerson had attended the Harvard Divinity School, and when he left the ministry, he still believed in God, but he believed that God was revealed in both scripture and nature. And this inner striving towards spiritual communion with divine spirit is what is called transcendentalism, which Emerson was part of this very deep movement, transformative movement in America in the middle of the 1800s. And that truly transformed American spirituality. It was the predecessor for New Thought, which is where we find ourselves today. I wish we were back in transcendentalism, though, because, you know, he wrote about an oversoul, which was like the universal subjective mind. Anyway, you'll find traces of Emerson throughout Ernest Holmes' writings. So this transparent eyeball, that's when using it, the ego drops away. Standing in the woods, one would see the world as God does. So the water, this Sunday we're talking about water, the waters of life. It's interesting that water is mentioned more times than faith in the Bible. Earth is called the blue planet because from outer space we see that it's predominantly ocean. And humans have always settled on lakes and rivers and seas, and 500 million people owe their livelihood to water. 2/3 of the global economy is derived from activities that involve water, and 1 billion people rely on water-based sources for protein. We use water for drinking, cleaning, working, recreating, and traveling. And each person in the United States consumes from 80 to 100 gallons of water for just basic needs. And yet only 0.004% of water in the world is drinkable. So there's an interesting scientist. We used to use part of his text in our foundations class. His name is Masaru Emoto. And he was a Japanese scientist who researched the effects of consciousness on water. And he got the idea from watching snowflakes and from hearing that no two snowflakes are alike. And so he thought, well, water must have crystals too if it's frozen. So he discovered that tap water has no crystal formations, but that certain water produced beautiful crystals. So he collected samples from springs and waterfalls, and he would put identical amounts into 50 petri dishes and then freeze them. And then when the petri dishes came out, and as the temperature began to rise, some of them created crystals, which he had a photographer on staff, and he would photograph them. And Emoto asserted everything vibrates, and that music especially heals and forms beautiful crystals in water. And he looked also at the effects of beautiful words versus ugly ones. And he discovered the hidden power behind words. A school experiment was made with 2 containers of rice, identical, and they were soaked in water. And one of them was what had been imbued with the thought form, "You fool." You fool. And after 30 days, it turned black and foul. And the other one that was identical to the "you fool" one was imbued with the word "thank you." And after 30 days, it smelled fresh and wonderful. So the radical healing effects of water are absolutely apparent. Water gives us life and has been recognized for its therapeutic qualities for centuries. There was an 11-year-old boy who found himself in an orthopedic surgeon's office looking at x-rays of his spine, and he had experienced severe lower back and neck pain for a year, and it had become almost impossible for him to continue his gymnastics and track. And the surgeon's good news was that he was a few degrees off needing spinal surgery. But the bad news was he would have to drop all sports, including gym, and wear a Milwaukee brace 23 hours a day for 3 years. And this would stabilize his spine and its 3 massive curves. But the surgeon said there's no way to fix the scoliosis. So as a young athlete, he felt like it was a death sentence to lose his ability to play sports. And he spoke to his parents, who were determined to find another way to heal outside of traditional medicine. And he began treatments with a chiropractor 3 times a week. And because he was young enough, his bones weren't fully ossified, and the curvatures in his spine could be decreased significantly to relieve the physical pain. Well, hello. This is Taliba Chiku, our distant practitioner from Sonoma, California. Welcome. She came all the way from up north of Seattle. Thanks for making it. Yeah. God is your support. Yeah. So he started swimming after this to strengthen his muscles and joined a swim team. And then he won his first swim race and discovered his dream sport. So his recovery story was featured on the front page of a local paper. So scientifically speaking, water is a dynamic equilibrium between liquid and gas states, and is the most abundant compound on Earth, covers 70% of the planet. And it crystallizes when it freezes, when it's hot, it steams, and even 31% of our dry bones are water. But the more water we lose, the more we deteriorate, and when we're only 50% water, we die. We're water in human form. So water's structure reacts to any irritation, and they're organized in little memory clusters, so to speak. There are 440,000 information panels that are responsible for the interaction with the environment, making it nature's single most malleable computer, water. And that was according to Rustum Roy, a renowned material scientist from Pennsylvania State University. So whatever water hears, feels, and sees becomes a catalyst for its change, as it copies and memorizes and transports information. And as we heard about Emoto would use music, he'd display words, and he prayed to water. And when the water was frozen, it created crystal shapes distinct to each stimuli. And it was really, water is really a transporter of energy throughout our body. So there's something to holy water. I didn't realize that. Holy water in Catholic churches that's prayed over obviously has healing properties, because water absorbs the thought form of good that's been transmitted into that water. So if you want to read more, you can actually go online and Google Masaru Emoto or his book, The Hidden Messages in Water, and actually see the crystals They're absolutely gorgeous. He takes contaminated, polluted water from Tokyo Bay, I think, and shows it before, in its before state, and in its after state, after just giving it the word love or the word thank you. They pray into the water those words, and it forms the most beautiful crystal structures you've ever seen. So if we're that much 70% water, you can see how words affect us. Words have an absolutely profound effect on us. Hence, new thought. So in many cultures, water is seen as holy and paramount to spiritual enlightenment. In Sanskrit, Narayan is the name of God in its pervading form and is translated as the one who moves in infinite waters and is also the water itself. So, and of course, in Christianity and in Judaism, water is used as a cleansing vehicle, the mikveh baths of the Jewish people before special ceremonies. And in Christianity, that's used in baptism. So water has been long appreciated as something with medicinal and therapeutic qualities. I think the original baptisms originated with the Egyptians in 2000 BC. And the modern application is hydrotherapy. Water exercises can ease arthritis, relieve muscle spasms, and speed recovery from injury. So another use of water is to take bathtub meditations. I'll bet some of us already do that. But it enhances the soothing impact of water. And here's how to do it. You just fill a tub with warm water and sit in a comfortable position, relax, and place your palms up, floating on the surface of the water, and then call upon the water in your body to merge with the water you're submerged in, inviting the healing properties to connect, and imagine a flow between them. And as you imagine this water cycle, just inhale and suspend the breath and say, I am water, I am flow, I am balanced, I am strong. And the healer that recommends this said, try this for a minimum of 11 minutes once a week and see if it doesn't help. So one of our ministers submitted this poem that I'll close with. It's called Flow. Flow. Be as water is without friction. Flow around the edges of those within your path. Surround within your ever-moving depths those who come to rest there. Enfold them while never for a moment holding on. Accept whatever distance others are moved within your flow. Be with them gently as far as they allow your strength to take them. And fill with your own being the remaining space when they are left behind. When dropping down life's rapids, froth and bubble into fragments if you must, knowing that the one of you now many will just as many times be one again. And when you've gone as far as you can go, quietly await your next beginning. Noel McInnes. And he likes to say, though I don't always get what I'm looking for, I always get what I'm looking from. God bless you, and so it is. And so now we're going to hear Relentless Rain, another rain song from Stephen Kristi.
I just want to say Terry did a great job. I can see dark clouds will gather. The relentless rain will fall. The fields will fill with water. I will shelter through it all. I will stand beside the river as the relentless rain comes down. I will wash away my sorrow, the dark visions that I've found. I will stand alone in a cold, relentless rain. I will stand till I feel whole, stand till I feel warm again. I will endure relentless rain until the rain has washed me clean. The relentless rain will comfort me. I will feel free once again. Now the sun has found its way outside dark clouds that fill the sky. Still it's rain that I am yearning for, as evening gently nudges nigh. I will stand alone in a cold, relentless rain. I will stand till I feel whole, stand till I feel warm again. I will stand till I feel whole, stand till I feel warm again.
So it's time for our offertory. Would the ushers come forward? So we'd like to say the blessing in the program together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is. And we have a beautiful offering song called There is a Garden, played by Bienvenido and written by Leonard Bernstein from Trouble in Tahiti, arranged by D. Elliott.
couldn't help but think during Rev.Frances' message about water and how it's a metaphor for love, the presence of God. It's a metaphor for life. And I was thinking specifically that of the movie I saw and all things merge into one, and a river runs through it. If any of you saw that movie, I've been meditating on that movie and that thought for about 6 months, and just every time I think of water, I realize that the Spirit runs through everything, and it flows. It flows like water through each and every one of us. And I am so, so grateful that I get to come to and be a part of a community like this, that where I hear inspiring messages like that. And so as we go out this week into our individual lives and do our individual things, we need to be thinking about water and about spirit, about the connection of life and love and peace that flows through everything. I give thanks for this. And I release this word into the law and say, so it is.
Okay, it's announcement time. So we want to announce again that Practical Mysticism is going on. You can register for it today or in the next couple of days. It's really an amazing class because it is a meditation class on Carolyn Mace's book that was based on Teresa of Avila's book on the castle. She uses as a metaphor for the different rooms we have in our subconscious mind. And so you explore different parts of yourself with meditation, determining what's blocking you in your spiritual development. And I just love this class, so I'm hoping that more of you will register for it. You can go online and register, and we'll explore some mysticism. I believe there's some of Joel Goldsmith's work on mysticism that's part of the class. And then Foundations is ongoing. I don't know if you're adding any students at this point, Bev. Okay, so if you're interested in taking our basic class, Foundations, talk with Bev after the service ends, and she will bring you up to speed and tell you whether you can still register. Let's see, we have one last movie that is happening. Did you want to make that announcement?
We have had a wonderful time with these discussions on movies through CSL Home Office. These discussions are looking at these movies from a spiritual perspective. And so it's just been very, very enlightening to see and hear some different discussions. The last movie that we're going to do is the Da Vinci Code. We're going to be having the discussion this Friday. That would be August 19th, and we're going to have it at Justin's house because there's another event going on here Friday night. So if you're interested, we do need to get a count because he either has it at his house or at his clubhouse, depending on the number of people who want to attend. And you can let me know or let Rev.Frances know if you want to attend this. And any donations that are received through these movies are going to be turned over to benefit the Cedar Ridge camp that they have purchased in Oregon. This is a wonderful opportunity to benefit youth summer camps. Thank you.
Okay. So what this means is that you watch the movie at your house. And probably all of you have seen it, but it would be good to see it again. It's one of my favorite movies. I remember going to Paris and going into the Church of Saint-Sulpice, which is featured in the Da Vinci Code, and they had a big sign posted, "This is not the Da Vinci Code." I got a kick out of that. I was in Paris tracing the steps of the Da Vinci Code. But anyway, so you can watch it on let's see, HBO Plus, or you can go to Amazon and rent it for $2.99. What an experience! And see it again, and then be ready. All ready to discuss it at Justin's house on Friday night. It'll be a lot of fun. So that's that. Is there anything else I need to say? Oh, next week is our big meeting. It's a special town hall meeting of members with home office. You may have gotten a call. They're going to be voting, getting a vote of the membership and meeting with home office on the possibility of obtaining an interim minister after I retire on October 30th. So they want to vote. The board would like to have a vote of the members. And so that is going to happen at 12:15 next week, the town hall meeting. So we're urging you to please attend. And next week's message is the furry, the fuzzy, the slimy, the scaly, and everybody else. That sort of covers the waterfront and nature, doesn't it? Okay, so I think those are the announcements, and we'll see you next week. And we're going to close with a beautiful song called "The River" that Steve and Kristi are going to present.
This is one of the oldest songs that I've written that we perform. I think we recorded this in 1978. So everybody's going, gee, he's so
You're old.
Yeah. So. 2, 3, 4. You could see the many faces of the people of your day. Would you know them any better, or would you simply turn away? And I've known them in the factories, I've known them in the street. Their love and pain is secret, no man that I've known could ever keep. And the river, she flows gentle, and the river, she flows wild. May every man grow old with grace, may every man never lose his child. Well, I've thought about those faces and the meanings that they hold. Most of them are only feelings we all share like we share growing old. And And I've known them in the factories, I've known them in the street. Their love and pain a secret, no man that I've known could ever keep. And the river, she flows gentle, and the river, she flows wild. May every man grow old with grace, may every man never lose his child. May every man grow old with grace, may every man never lose his child. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. We've got coffee in the back, and so enjoy a little bit of fellowship before, or sistership before, before the next service. Yeah. That was great.